Hello, welcome to Redmen TV on your bank holiday Monday. We're here because what the fuck is a bank holiday? It's time for your daily news. There's three things Liverpool related I want to discuss, and one not so much, more in terms of the city, I guess. Two bits of transfer news and one piece of Liverpool news in general. So let's start with the general news and leave the transfer stuff to the last. Huddersfield Town apparently, Chris, going to face off against us in a behind closed doors game over the international break. Good.
Yeah, I think it is. It's something we discussed last season, isn't it? When he was made manager for Huddersfield, David Wagner, that we thought that this relationship could bring, could be good for both teams, and it looks like after we've played them, obviously in the pre-season, that we're making use on that. They're flying at the top of the championship at the minute, aren't they? So it's a good test for our players who aren't full internationals and who haven't gone away with other squads to get some game time. Yeah, on the surface of it, looks like a good move.
Yeah, I think you did right on that. I think it's an interesting one because we didn't get to see kind of what that game could have been because of the injury to Lucas and Jamal George playing up front. So it would be interesting as a good test for it. What I'd not even thought about is, and this is, I think this has actually been a few years now, and any regular viewers of the Championship will be able to correct me one way or the other. How good is the Championship now if they're also on international breaks? Never something not something I'd considered. That was always inevitably what Soccer Saturday became when the international's on. But great, it's good to see a good test. The article originates from This Is Anfield, doesn't it? And they kind of made a couple of suggestions as to what it could mean. One interesting one was the James Milner. Good chance for him to just get another game at left back under his belt.
Yeah, they alluded to the fact that he could play there and gain more experience at a left back. It's a viable option, I'm sure. I mean, he's because he's retired from international football. Do you want to see him at left back? I'm not. I think, the more experience he can get at left back, the better. But then I'm also thinking he's probably is he 31 now? Do you give him a little bit of rest? I mean, I don't know. 45 minutes could probably suit.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot. I think we'll probably see a lot of that. Be interesting because you wouldn't expect that it would be. Actually, I say you wouldn't expect it to be flat out, but I don't know whether we have another way. You know what I mean? I don't know whether we do. I think, and as you said, therefore that would mean maybe we do a pre-season style 45, 60 minutes. I would guess that Milner never strikes me as the kind of guy who needs time off. But I think that's the most important thing ultimately, though, is that by all accounts, a left back was not going to be joining the club before the end of the window. And if he's going to be the first choice option going forward, then the more time he plays there, it's not going to do us any harm whatsoever.
The problem is, I think, when you're looking at someone gaining experience, obviously he's gaining positional experience and stuff, but there's more to be gained for me anyway for him playing with the proper back four.
Yeah.
With him playing with Matip next to him, or whoever it is, it's going to be Matip, isn't it? Sorry, it's going to be Lovren, isn't it, next to him? So I don't know whether Lovren's got on, but he had some troubles before the Euros where he wasn't in the Croatia side, so it could be that both Lovren and James Milner work there and work on their relationship and not just Milner's position, which could be good for the side throughout the season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I suppose it's one of them. That would be the ideal set of circumstances, wouldn't it? Where players who are going to play alongside each other the more game time they get to play alongside each other, the better the understanding's going to be. But equally, just from James Milner, when you look at we're going to be filming the Final Word show not long after this, which will be up this evening on the website. But you look at the thing that Milner was criticised for, just in terms of positional sense. I mean, obviously, can you teach an old dog new tricks? Who knows? You'd like to just, again, the more minutes you play in a position, the more you will gain an understanding of the fundamentals of that position, even though I think, by and large, you had a really good game. Two bits of transfer news then. Ante Coric, or Coric, according to Transfer Market's weird pronunciation guy.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Logged on to Transfer Market this morning, they've got a pronunciation. Ante Coric.
It's weird.
It's basically weird.
Fucking weird.
I'm not saying it like that every single time.
Don't.
I might do it for you, but not every time.
I want a super cut. Coric. Yeah, we actually spoke about him earlier in the summer. Really impressed with his YouTube highlights, and the discussion that came off the back of it, Chris, was I don't know if it was you with me at the back end of the last week, but we were saying that Liverpool probably could probably use another attacking player with a bit of pace or whatever, a bit of skill. I just maybe a Craig Bellamy type would be ideal just as a short-term solution, but actually on the flip side, I kind of wouldn't mind going and getting a wonder kid at the other end, a 17, 18-year-old, because if nothing else, they're not going to play 30, 40 games this season, but you know what inevitably will happen is one of our attacking players, and it will probably be Coutinho come next summer. There will doubtless be some interest from other clubs if he has a good season in particular. Be nice to have someone lined up, ready just to slot into that rather than spend next summer looking for his replacement.
It's massively important. I think, not only, first of all, Man City were interested in, weren't they? And I think he pulled out of that deal because he found out that they were going to be loaning him out for a year and he didn't want to do that. So if that's the case, then it would say that Liverpool are in this and they're in to bring him into the squad. And there's intangible benefits to bringing someone in who's a year younger or a couple of years younger than your next guy. And part of that, they'll be playing in the system, they'll understand the system. And what we've got to do as fans, if we were to bring somebody like that in, is not heap loads of pressure on them. Let them just learn their trade at Liverpool Football Club, understand the position. I know, it's difficult. it's massively difficult. Understand what they've got to do in that side and just be ready, when the opportunity arises. The problem is, as we've seen over the years, Sterling, Ibe, we heap loads of pressure on these young kids. And
as we've seen this fucking week, we were going, that Wijnaldum shit, he's played 3 games for us. Fine,
there's
whatever.
a bit of a difference though, because he's obviously an established Premier League footballer.
Absolutely. But what I mean is that if we're not able to afford anyone, we're not affording anyone time ever, are we? Unless they're breaking through. Unless a portion of our fan base has been watching them in the under 23s and has been getting really excited about them and they're desperate to see them. That's pretty much the only chance you get. And then even then, you're talking about 5 games you get before you get completely turned on. So but your point's right in a fair, sensible, logical world. Yeah, and I think most people would. I think we probably make too much of this, don't we? That there is a small, vocal idiot minority that are just desperate to find things to whinge about. But you're right, not to put too much pressure. That being said, apparently it could be available for 12 million quid. I don't know how truthful this is. The fact that his name's cropped, Aubrey said, the fact that his name's cropped up a couple of times this summer is one of those no smoke without fire kind of situations. We'll see on that. The one that got as a lot of people excited over the weekend was the Christian Pulisic link, and I'm one of them, to be perfectly honest. 17 years old, Chris. Apparently we've had 11 million turned down for him. In terms of not putting pressure on it, I just watched his YouTube highlights again. Nah, fuck it, just get him. He's amazing. Let's get him and let's build an entire team around him, etc., etc. Where do you stand? Do you reckon that would be, you'd be interested in us targeting someone like him?
Definitely, definitely. I think, we've spoken about him last week as well, haven't we? And, done a bit more research and dug into it. What we've just said about the Coric and what you do is you bring them in and you play a few games here and there. That's exactly what Dortmund did with Pulisic last season. He played 12 times in the German Youth League, and his stats were pretty damn good, to be honest. He played 12, he scored 6, he made 6 assists. Brilliant, won a game. Yeah. And then he moved into the actual Bundesliga side as well and played 9 times for them. He was a substitute 5 of those times. He started 4 games, which is about what you kind of want to see from a young
from a 16, 17-year-old.
Exactly. And he still managed to get 2 goals in those 9 games and 2 out of 4 starts as well. And he was on the bench a lot as well, which obviously hindered his youth performances. But that's the type of... You can just see on the surface that they're doing that the right way, and I think if Liverpool were to buy him, hopefully it would be in a similar mould. That's what the idea would be. We'd play him in the under-23s, get his experience up, get him used to the system, and then introduce him slowly into games that we think fit him.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Like I say, it's the age thing for me that normally you'd be like, oh, look, we don't need it. I just think, fine. I don't want to... I want to see Shea Ojo get a chance, even though he's got a couple of years on in that regard. But it would be nice for us to go out and go and pick up a wonder kid. You know what? It's a term that's bandied around a bit too much, but fuck it. We've gone and got Mane, who's ready-made, plug in and play. Ready to go. I kind of wouldn't mind us going and saying, well, hang on, who are the next generation of stars that are on that cusp of, maybe Liverpool 2 or 3 years ago wouldn't be paying that amount of money for someone, but you know what? We've actually got money in the bank. Let's take a little punt and get someone in before they have a great season, and then all of a sudden, But basically, fuck, if he's a Dortmund, Bayern Munich come in and decide they want him to be the next big thing. So I think we should be going all out for someone. According to I think it was the Echo, it seems unlikely we'll get this done in this window, which is a shame. But again, yeah, it looks like the likes of Pulisic, Coric, maybe Dahoud, Klopp's. As much as it'd be great to get everyone in here and now. He knows he's got a long-term contract. He's in no rush to get these guys in. If he's going to get them in next summer, he probably feels we'll be fine to cope without them for the next 9 months.
I think you're right. Look, I think Klopp's reasonably happy with the squad at the minute. I think he's made a lot of changes. He needs to bed a lot of those changes in, see how we do, and then maybe start plugging gaps. As far as the first team goes, certainly when he's seen what's working and what's not working, I think with the youth, you're spot on. He can wait a little bit. He's got a bit of time. Yeah.
Well, we said on the Ball Street Transfer Daily last week, didn't we? Which if you haven't seen, go and check it out. Good laugh. That there's a January window coming up. It'd be nice to Klopp probably wants to look at what he's got properly. Take half a season, see what's working, see what's not working. There's probably a couple of guys who we maybe thought could have gone in this window, who was on the fringes of it, and by the January we'll know. Lucas being a great example of that. If Lucas doesn't figure in more than 4 or 5 games between now and January, don't be surprised to see him move on. And similarly, there's a guy that we've been monitoring, but we don't feel is an absolute necessity right now. We might find that come January, we might think, you know what? Just having another player in that position could be a
look,
benefit.
Flip side of that, Shea Ojo comes back from injury and starts tearing it up. Then he might park plans to spend 12, 15 million on a young winger because he thinks he's got one. Yeah. And it's about looking at those young players and not just the old senior heads in the squad, isn't it? And seeing how they develop over the next 6 months. And then going, wow, fucking hell, hang on, I was going to spend 15 million on this guy, but this guy's worth 20 now, and he's going to be the future of this position. So am I better spending my money elsewhere? I think that's the way that Klopp will do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's exciting if nothing else. Okay, so one last thing I just wanted to mention, and obviously it's not Liverpool directly related as such, but just wanted to say obviously the really sad news of the Everton fan that passed away during the match at Goodison Park at the weekend, 51 years old, apparently had a heart attack at the game. Is just. I mean, I've got me mother-in-law's fell as a steward at Everton, and it's terrible, isn't it? Ultimately, Chris, it doesn't matter the football team. The fact is that a guy who's just gone to watch the footy, he should be coming home from that.
Yeah, he should, and it's. My thoughts go out to all Everton fans and anyone who was affected by it as well, because obviously his family and friends will be massively affected, but those stewards who dealt with it, the paramedics who dealt with it, and anyone stood around them as well, they'll all be upset right now, and they'll all be thinking about. And it's funny, isn't it? Because when anything like this happens, you do take an inward look and you realise how easy it is and stuff. And fair play to everyone at Everton Football Club, because I think they've dealt with the situation marvellously as well. So yeah, my thoughts certainly go out to everybody.
Yeah, 100%. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the news show this week. We've got a final word show lined up, which is going to be chock full of optimism and positivity, and looking at just basically probably a portion dedicated once again to a man called Sadio Mane and how exceptional he is. If you want to watch that, you can do. It's completely free for the first month over on the redmentv.com. So get involved, get signed up. And before we go, one last thing that has to be mentioned. Deadline day, Chris, Wednesday.
Oh, mate. Looking forward to this bad boy.
Oh, my God. So the planning is fully in motion. Chris hasn't slept in a week. It's going to be a 9-hour live stream over on the Ball Street YouTube channel on Wednesday. Get involved. Get subscribed to their channel first and foremost. Get yourself ready because it's going off big time.